Hi everyone. Thank you for joining October 2023's Stampin' Class by Mail. I'm Gina Wieselman of MySweetPaper.com, and I've teamed up with Brenda Cardinal, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, to offer these monthly classes by mail. This month, Brenda will show you how to stamp and assemble your cards, and next month it'll be my turn. Have fun making your cards, and here's Brenda.
Thanks, Gina. Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Cardinal of StampinTulip.StampinUp.net, and I can't wait to show you how to stamp and assemble your cards using the Merry Bold and Bright suite found in Stampin' Up's 2023 September to December mini catalog. If you order a class kit by mail, pull out your supplies along with a stamp set, ink pads, and a few additional items shown here. If you need any stamping supplies, be sure to use the host code found in the video description to qualify for all of our promotions. And be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And again, please reach out to Gina or me if you need any stamping supplies or would like to learn more about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or hosting a Stampin' Up! Event. Let's get started. Our first card is the Oh What Fun card. If you order a Stampin' Class by Mail kit from either Gina or me, all these parts and pieces were shipped to you as part of your kit. If you didn't purchase a kit and would like to receive all the measurements for these cards, go ahead and follow the link in the video description to sign up for one of our email lists and access our exclusive content. We'll begin by doing our stamping for this card, and we'll be using Poppy Parade as our ink. And we'll stamp our greeting on this banner that we punched with the banner Pick-a-Punch. One of our favorite punches, 2 different designs and 6 different slots. So it's like getting 6 punches in one. A big favorite of ours. So we'll ink up our stamp and we'll stamp our greeting right in the center here. And then we'll set that aside. And then let's stamp a little something on one of the 2 basic white pieces. Maybe just a few stars. Kind of matches the star at the top of our Christmas tree there. You know, some people said that looks like a birthday party hat, which it certainly could be, but for our purposes, it's going to be a Christmas tree. And then if you'd like, maybe add a little something to your envelope. And just to check to make sure I have the right side, I'm going to stamp a few stars along the left side of our envelope. Okay. And that's all of our stamping. Let's begin our assembly, and we'll bring on our Poppy Parade card base. And we'll fold that in half and put a nice crease on it with our bone folder. And then the piece that we just stamped, we'll add that to the inside of our card using our Stampin' seal. And we'll center that up on the inside of our card. Next, we'll add the second piece of basic white cardstock with our Stampin' seal. And we'll center that up. And then we'll add our designer series paper. This is actually cut the exact same size. And we'll start with the Fa La 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 piece. Just a little plug, Stampin' Up! Came out with some new branded merchandise that we can all purchase. And it's holiday mugs. And there's a red mug that has white Fa La 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 all over it. And then there's a second mug in the duo. And that has those Christmas ornaments on it. Really, really cute. All right, so when I added the Fa La La piece, I moved it down about 1/4 of an inch from the top and over 1/4 of an inch from the left. And now when I put this second piece on, I'm going to overlap them and have that same distance, that 1/4 of an inch there. I'm going to have it here on the bottom as well. All right. Then we'll add our stamped Oh What Fun banner onto our Poppy Parade banner. We're going to center that up. We'll switch to Stampin' Dimensionals, and we'll pop this up on our card, and you can place this wherever you'd like. I place it down lower, so we gave some nice white space to the upper right spot there. And then last but not least is to add our iridescent adhesive back discs. I love these discs. They're flat, they don't add a lot of bulk to your project. We bring our envelope back in. There's our first project. Our second card is our Holly Jolly card. Here are all the pieces for the card, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. We'll begin again by doing our stamping, and our first color will be our shaded spruce. In your kit, you got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. We're going to stamp the smaller of the 2, or the narrower of the 2. I'm going to put a piece of scratch paper behind the basic white piece, and I'm going to grab the light cord, and I'm going to ink it up, and then I'm going to stamp it down towards the top. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the base for our light bulb, and I'm going to stamp it several times. So I'll stamp it this way along the bottom of our cord. Oops, I missed a little spot there. You know, the beauty of photopolymer stamps is that you can stamp right over the top. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to stamp a few more strings. I'm sorry, not strings. I'm going to stamp a few more light bases on our cord. Okay. Then I'm going to set this aside so it can dry for just a minute. And I'm going to bring in our banner, and I'm going to stamp Holly Jolly on our banner. And I'm going to have the notch on our banner on the left side, and then I'll just center that up like that, and then I'll bring our light string back in. I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to go back to Poppy Parade, and then I'm just going to stamp our light bulbs so they are attached to the light bulb base there. And I'm going to let this dry for just a minute before I stamp the elements so that the Poppy Parade ink can dry. And I'm going to bring in my envelope, and I'm going to bring back the Oh What Fun stamp that we used for our first card. Bring back in our shaded spruce. Stamp a light bulb base. Then our light bulb. I'm stamping the light bulb so it just slightly overlaps the light bulb base. We'll let this dry for a second. We'll come back in with our shaded spruce and the element. And we'll stamp an element in each of our light bulbs. Probably don't need one there. And then I'll bring my envelope back in and stamp one here as well. All right. So that is all of our stamping. So let's begin our assembly. And the basic white piece that we didn't stamp, we're going to add the narrow strip of designer series paper to that. And it's the longer of the designer series paper in your kit. And I'm just going to put this right at the very top of my cardstock. It's kind of white on white, it's kind of hard to see. Let me double check and see where we're at. Yep. There we go. It looks like it might be a little long, so I'm going to trim that off with my paper snips. Okay, then I'll bring in my Poppy Parade card base. We'll fold that over, and with my bone folder, put a nice crease on that. And then we'll add this inside piece to the inside of our card. And we'll center that. Then we'll set this aside for a minute and work on our top piece. We'll start by bringing in our Granny Apple Green cardstock strips and our other two Designer Series paper pieces. And we are going, let me back up here. Notice the way these are cut. There's a point, or let's see, the one cut edge has the very top of the Christmas tree, while the other one has only partial Christmas trees. And so when we add this to our Granny Apple Green piece, what we're going to do is we're going to center this left, right, and the top with the same borders. Might have a little extra of the Granny Apple Green showing on the bottom, and that's okay. It just gives us a little bit more to work with when we tape or adhere it to our card. So let's do that same thing with the second piece. And there's the top of our tree. Okay, so that's what I'm going to center up then. Now the reason I did that is if you look at our finished card, if I hadn't cut the cardstock that way, and you would just look like green diamonds, it wouldn't look like Christmas trees, and that's why we're being so kind of fussy about that. So we'll bring back in our string of lights, and we're going to put some adhesive at the bottom and the top. And then when we add these trees, we're going to add them so that centered left and right, and we're just barely covering up the tree trunk, like that. And then we'll bring this one down and we'll do that same thing. So center left and right, and then we're just barely covering the tree trunk. So we actually have full trees. We're looking at full trees at the top and the bottom. That one looks a little crooked. There we go, that's better. Okay, there we go. A little crooked too. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then to attach this to the front of our card, we're going to use dimensionals. I'm going to be really generous with these dimensionals. On either end of our Granny Apple Green piece, I'm going to put a dimensional so it overlaps both the basic white and the Granny Apple Green. We'll put one in the center of the Granny Apple Green piece, and then I'm going to put one here and one here. So really generous with that. We'll pull off our release papers here. And then we'll add this to the front of our card. Okay, we'll bring our greeting back, and we'll also pop this up with dimensionals. And you can place this where you'd like. I actually placed it off the basic white piece just a little bit, but if you would rather have it lined up, that's fine. But I thought maybe by placing it off the basic white piece, it actually kind of still creates some extra movement, like the light string. And then the last thing we'll do, we'll bring in our mini glue dots, and we'll add our bow. And if you ordered a kit, we pre-tied this for you so you don't have to tie it for yourself. I'm going to put that right there. Then, if we bring our envelope back in, there's our second card. Our third card is the Merry and Bright card. Here are all the pieces for the cards, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. So before we get started, I want to point out a couple things. First, in the suite, besides fabulous designer series paper, they also have coordinating foil, and so we'll be using the foil sheets for our light bulbs for this card. And then we're going to emboss the element into them, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But this is our fun fold card, and when you open it, look what happens. The outside flips into the inside. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to show you how to die cut our light bulbs and also how to emboss the element into them. So I'm going to bring in my craft sheet here so my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine stays in place. And then I have my sandwich and just following the directions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay our foil sheets on top of our platform here, and we're going to cut a Great Apple Green one and a Melon Mambo one. And this is one of those die sets by Stampin' Up that gives you multiple dies of the same shape, so you can cut things out a little faster. Now, the dies also include the die to cut out the element. And so what I did is I don't want to cut the element out of my die. What I want is I want that shape to be embossed in it. Using silver foil sheets, I die cut 4 elements, and then I glued 2 together, leaving me with these 2 elements that I'll use to emboss the image. And now I'm going to lay them upside down on top of my foil. And I say upside down because when you die cut foil, it puts a bit of a rounded edge on the right side, and so I want that rounded edge to be part of the embossing. So then I'm going to very carefully, if you wanted to, you could add a little washi tape or a post-it note to hold those in place, but I'm going to wing it here. Okay, very carefully put my top plate on top. And then I'm going to send it through. Oops. So when I pop our foil out, do you see what happened there? By laying that die cut piece on top, it actually embossed that for me. So it's a fun little way to add a little texture to your die cut images. All right, so we can set these aside and let's do our stamping. So I'm going to bring in the piece that measures 6 by 5 and it's scored at 2 and 4, and we are going to stamp Merry and Bright. I'll open this up so you can see it on this rightmost panel. So I'll start by stamping Merry with Melon Mambo. I'm going to try to do my best to center it up so that it's centered in that 3rd panel. Okay, and that's all we need the Melon Mambo for. And then we'll bring our Granny Apple Green ink pad in, and we'll stamp N Bright, centered and right below the word Merry. Okay, I'm going to stamp my envelope and make sure I have it the right way. Bring back in the Melon Mambo pad. And I just love this saying, this "oh what fun," so I'm going to stamp that on my envelope. Okay, now that's all of our stamping. So let's start with the basic white piece that we stamped, and we're going to fold it. We're going to fold it over our greeting using our bone folder to put a nice crease on that, and then we're going to fold that back. So we create this Z, if you will. Okay. Then I'm going to lay that aside for a second, and I'm going to bring in my card base. It's Lemon Lime Twist. I love this color, the color scheme in this suite. It's kind of green and kind of red, but it's got a kind of a fresh take on it. So our card base, the front of our card has been die cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. This is the largest square, and we also use that same size to cut out our melon mambo square. Okay, so I'm going to fold this in half. Again with our bone folder, I'm going to put a nice crease in that. And then you did get 3 pieces of designer series paper, and notice 2 are identical and 1 is not the same size, and the light bulbs are going different directions, if you'll notice. So let's start with the front of our card base, and we're going to use our Stampin' Seal, and we're going to add these 2 identical strips that are narrower to the front of our card. So we're going to add 1 above our die cut shape, and we're going to center it so we have the same, well, not centered exactly, but we want the same distance from the die cut to the DSP as the top of the card to the DSP. So we want that, and then same thing at the bottom. Okay, and double check. Yep, a little excess here. You know, whenever I can, I try to cut these strips that I want to look like they line up perfectly a little bit longer, and that way I can trim them so they are exactly the same size. All right, so let's set this aside for a second, and then we're going to add this 3rd piece of designer series paper to the inside of our card. In the middle section. All right. So then we want to attach this to our card base, and I'm going to switch adhesives, and I'm going to go to Stampin' Seal Plus. This is a little stronger adhesive, and because this card is going to, you know, probably people will play with it when they get it, right, because it's so fun. So we want to make sure we have a really, really good adhesion between the layers. So I'm putting adhesive only on that rightmost section that we stamped, okay? And then I'm going to add it to the back of my card base, or the inside of my card base, and I'm going to put the same borders around that section, okay? Now, to make this all work, we have little mechanism pieces, and they're scored, and so we're going to fold them along the score line and put a nice crease on that as well. And then with that same Stampin' Seal, I'm going to put adhesive only on one side. Nope. All right, and then with this piece laying like this, I'm going to add this piece, adhesive side down, fold along the cut edge. And I'm going to do that so it's about a 1/4 inch from the top of my card. And then the same thing, again, folded edge towards cut edge, and about a 1/4 inch from the bottom. Because what I want it to happen is I want these mechanism pieces to fall in this section and this section. Okay, so once I have those lined up, then I'm going to add some more adhesive to that side. And then I'm going to lay it down flat, put a little pressure on it, and I'm going to close it and then add more pressure so it lines up right where it's supposed to be. Okay. So there you go. Looks like I need a little bit more pressure on the adhesive. There we go. Oh, this one too. Okay, there we go. And now we'll add our Melon Mambo piece in that window. So again, I'm going to use Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to be really generous with this. And then I'm going to drop that Melon Mambo piece right inside. And before I put too much pressure on it, I just want to make sure it's working properly, and it is. So there we go. So I'll put some pressure on that. And now we'll work on this top element. So I'll set this aside for just a second. So I'm going to bring in our square piece of basic white, our cord for our lights, our cord bases, and our light bulbs. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Stampin' Seal to the little top of both of my light bulbs. And then add the light bulb base. Okay. And then, I'm going to pop out that little Chad. When we die cut this, we actually added adhesive sheets to the back. So we effectively made this a sticker, so it's a little easier to line up. So, and before I do that, I forgot I need to put some adhesive on my light bulbs. It's just easier if it's ready to go. All right, so I'm going to string on our green light bulb. And then I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to gently place it where I want to. When I mean gently, I mean I'm just not going to put a lot of pressure on it till I get everything lined up the way I want. And then I'll string on my Mellow Mambo one. And I'll see if I like how it all looks. And if I do, then I'll put some pressure on the whole thing. Okay. And then I'll come back and trim off the excess cord for my light string. All right, and now bring our card back in and we'll add some adhesive. Now we can add adhesive to this whole thing, right? Because it's going to attach right to the Melon Mambo piece. Be real generous with that. And then we'll center this in the Melon Mambo piece. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll add some more of those iridescent discs. And in this case, for this card, we're going to use the white and the green. Oops. And if we bring our envelope back in, there's our third card. Thanks for participating in this month's Stampin' Class by Mail, and now here's Gina with a few more things for you.
Thanks, Brenda. Make sure to follow the links in the video description to access a few key things. A link to a Pinterest board that we've specially curated with even more ways to use the class supplies. A link to sign up for one of our email newsletters to receive all of our exclusive content, including measurements for the Class by Mail card designs. And a sneak peek of next month's card designs using the Berry Christmas Suite from Stampin' Up's September to December 2023 mini catalog. Thanks for participating, and don't forget to click subscribe on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Until next month, happy stamping!